everybody, it's Tanya here. Thanks for checking out my channel today. I am so excited to have you here today because I'm going to be working on a channeled painting and talking a bit about my experience as an awakened person and what that means to me, and maybe share some tips and some suggestions that you might find helpful in the upcoming year. And if we haven't met before, I am a crystal whisperer. I am a light code activator, and I am a channeler of spirit. And I'm so excited to share with you today. So let's jump into it. If you are feeling like the video is a little long because it is an actual painting in real time, I've put some different chapter marks in the description below, so check that out and you can jump to whatever feels like the right thing. Okay, we'll see you on the other side of the camera. Hey everybody, it's Tanya here. Welcome to the studio. And today you can see I have all the paints out because I'm not sure what's going to come forward. I just feel like having a bit of a chat, having a bit of playtime. Now, I have some palettes that I've already been playing with. And the really neat thing about watercolors is you can let your paints dry out and then reactivate them simply by doing this. So I'm not sure I'm going to use any of these or all of these, but it's always nice to have options. When I do my work, it's very intuitive. It's completely the opposite of what I used to do, where I did photorealistic acrylic paintings, and now I'm doing watercolor, which is totally intuitive. I don't know the colors, I don't know the shapes, I'm not planning it. It's just channeled completely through spirit. Sometimes just me. Today it's going to be just me, so I'm really curious to see what comes forward, just playing with my own mind and my own colors and where it is that it wants to go. I'm feeling today might actually be like an ochre, yellow, brown kind of day. So that's what I'm going to do. I'm going to play with that and see what comes up, what kinds of shapes happen and what the colors are like. I have a very unusual shaped piece of paper today, and that's because I'm just playing, so that works well. I see this particular shape come forward a lot. I don't know what it means. For me, that means it's channeled. So even though I say it's just me, sometimes it isn't. There is always energy around us that is coming through. And yeah, so it's been a very interesting week, and I wanted to share, without sharing specifics, that a couple of you reached out to me this week, and I just wanted to say thank you for that. I love you guys. Thank you for that. It's I think something that many of us that are working for ourselves are going through this period of adjustment and change. Well, of course, everyone is, but what we're doing as we are reaching into ourselves and learning to figure out what it is the heck that we want to do, where is it that we want to follow, where is it that our heart is making us go, yeah, more of that. For me, this. But as we're doing that, a lot of us are finding that it is there's a lot of solitude involved, and that's a good thing because it gets things out of the way. You have space to focus on what you're doing. For me, I don't mind that because I've always been a very hermetic kind of person. So for me, I'm kind of happy about it. But I have found lately that I have started to shift and am wanting more company. And so that's part of how my YouTube started close to a year ago now. And I was just at that point where I really wanted some community of people that are like-minded. Plus, I had the push from Spirit that I really needed to share their information and the light codes, which are basically the shapes that come forward. And brown, interesting. And as that is happening more and more for all of us who are beginning to go out there and share the information that we've got, it's a very different way of thinking and being. And I know it's challenging for a lot of you who are used to being around a lot of people, whether you're extroverted or not. Sometimes you can be quite introverted, but there's still people around, and you might miss that. So I guess that's probably what the energy of this painting is going to be bringing forward, is maybe just acknowledgement of that and giving you a bit of relationship energy not meaning person to person, but relationship with self and relationship to earth, relationship to all, and support. And that's really how my work has evolved. And I don't even want to call it work anymore, because it really isn't. This is just me getting to do something that feels great and knowing that it's helping people in some small way. And so that's kind of what I was saying earlier about thank you to those of you that reached out, because it makes a huge difference when you're working alone to know that there are people out there who are going through the same thing. Because, you know, we often feel like sometimes we are the only ones that are doing it, and it can be quite challenging. So this is really looking like a buffalo to me. If you haven't joined me on my channel before, I digress a lot. So welcome to the conversation, because it's going to go like this. Woo, woo, woo. But that's okay. And hey, if you're catching this on the replay, I want you to know a couple things. First off, you're totally getting it at the right time for you. There is no set timelines for anything anymore. And if you are seeing this now, then you probably needed to hear this message, or someone you know needed to hear it. Please do share the video. The more people that get the message, the more it's going to help. And then they can help other people from there. Whether it's by sharing the video, or whether it's by sharing information, or something has sparked in them and it's created a bit of a shift of awareness. And then that's what we call an activation. We, meaning me and the spirit team that are my friends that hang out with me in spirit. Yeah. I don't know where this is going at all. This is really fun. What was I talking about? Oh yeah, that a couple of you reached out. So I just wanted to say thank you for that, because it means a lot. Not only to me, but to anybody that is now going to benefit from the conversation that comes from that. So thank you. And please do feel free to comment. I really want to turn this channel into a space for people who are going through their awakening process, or who have done already, and so that we can support and share our experiences with each other, because it's so important, especially for those of us that don't have that in our 3D tangible experience. It makes a huge difference just to know that there are other people out there that are going through the same thing. So if you feel brave, or you feel like you want to share a bit about what's going on with you, or if something is really connecting with you, or you feel like it's calling up memories, because this is sometimes what I'll hear from people, that they're getting a sensation that these shapes mean something to them. They've seen them before, or they've dreamt them, or they themselves have drawn light codes that look very similar. And I think many of us that are going or have gone through this process are having the same feelings, whether that is, you know, the whole DNA blueprint theory, the awakening, the shift in consciousness, the connecting to the consciousness of all. There is a similarity, and that is what calls us towards each other, which is wonderful, isn't it? So yeah, thank you for hanging out here today and doing that. And I'm really looking forward to building this community up, and I'm really looking forward to getting enough subscribers that I can have a community page, because this is not a monetized page. I'm doing this because I love doing it, and I love sharing, and the information needs to get out there. But the more subscribers I have, the more the likelihood is that I get to be a community page, which is great, because then we'll have a forum to talk. So I love that. Or there might be something coming up in the future. I don't know, maybe, you know, if I get enough subscribers, I'll do a newsletter, or perhaps a Patreon at some point. Something that I feel can really be of service to you, as opposed to just raising money. Because for me, being of service comes first. It would be nice to have a little kish cash come in, I'm not gonna lie, but that's not the reason I do it. I do it because I love you guys, and I need to share these messages out. So what are we thinking? This is looking quite interesting, isn't it? The colors are very different, I have to say, in real life than what I'm getting on here. But I'm feeling like it's time for a little bit of the stuff. Let's see if we can do the, how do the makeup people do it? Oh, there we go. I digress because I'm good at digression. It is my thing. This symbol has been coming up a lot. I first started seeing this with the Arcturians quite a while ago. I saw it last week when I was doing angel codes, so also again something that I think is in the collective consciousness. I put so much paint on there. I feel like this is gonna maybe need to do that. So somebody was asking me a bit about the technique that I use. I wouldn't call it a technique as much as something that has just kind of evolved that I've been playing with. And I love lots of water in my paintings. I love it because, oh, and this is occurring to me just now. I was saying this the other day when I was doing a live on Instagram that, you know, sometimes Instagram lives are like like seeing a counselor because you're just talking and working your stuff out and getting some realizations. And I'm just having one now that probably one of the biggest reasons that I'm using so much water is because water is a great communicator. And on this planet, it is an essence that is in all life. And so that makes a bit of sense to me that there would be a lot of water in these paintings and codes, because that is part of how we communicate with each other. That is part of how we are living this experience. And it makes sense because the energy in these codes, the energy in ourselves is water-based. And it's coming from the sun, from the light, from thought, from collecting the collective consciousness that we tap into. And very interesting. But anyway, a lot of what I do is very heavy water-based, and I like it because it creates this really fun effect. If you're an artist and you've done watercolors, you've probably done this yourself, but if you haven't, it's fun to play with. Let's see, I got something I did yesterday. I was just playing around with some codes coming through. And so what I'll do is I'll put tons and tons of water. Let's see if I can then you can see when it dries, it creates kind of an outline in the shapes. And it is a interesting technique, especially when you're glazing, which is the process of putting thin layers of color over dried color. And it creates these really interesting effects. So I like putting a lot of water. And I think that's very interesting that the water is probably communicating the energy of what's happening in the paintings, the energy of the galactics that are coming through. The other thing I'm really finding is there's a lot of symmetry, mirroring, which I see in my work. I also see this in a lot of other people that are doing light work in the codes sometimes, but also, I'm sure you've seen this, there's a lot of people, and I myself have tried this because it's lots of fun, that are creating kaleidoscope-like images. And it has this sensation of relaxation and peace to it. Now, I don't know if that is just talking to the liminal mind, and perhaps it is like just a physiological response. That when there is symmetry, there is safety. Perhaps it's that, or perhaps there's something more. I don't know. But I do see it a lot, and I see it in my work a lot. There's just this feeling that sometimes everything needs to be a mirror image. And then sometimes it's totally freehand, like the stuff I did with the Lyrans a little while ago, which is incredible, weird shapes, but almost animalistic, and I love them. I don't say I understand some of this stuff, but that's okay. Who says you need to? And that, my friend, is the joy of doing these. You don't have to understand. It's just a matter of following your heart. So, a little food for thought today. What are you doing to follow your heart? Where is your heart taking you right now? Is there something new and exciting? Are you tapping into the collective consciousness? And I am shooting this in early January of 2022. And like I said before, whenever you see this, the timing is right for you. But the interesting thing right now is because I am shooting it in the beginning of January, there is this feeling of fresh start and trying something new and changing patterns, changing beliefs, working on something that you've wanted to do for a long time. And so many people are focused on that. And so as a sensitive, my darling friend, because you are, if you're watching this, definitely a sensitive person. In doing that collective consciousness connection, the triple C. See, I'm going to digress and lose my point, but that's okay. Oh, look, it's a little dude. ADHD painting with Tanya today. Anyway, when you do connect into that collective consciousness, you can actually jump in onto that energy. So if you have been feeling like you didn't know what the heck you wanted to do this year, or you feel a little bit of stress or strife, or you're in that like, what the heck happened last year moment, you know, go easy on yourself. It's okay. There's a lot of us doing that. I sure have been the last couple of days. And the last channel I did was all about learning to be gentle on yourself as we are going through this process, and understanding that it's okay to do so. That's challenging for me. So it was a nice channel that I did last week. And honestly, sometimes I think those channels are just for me. And if it's only a few people that see them, well then, that's all that matters, isn't it? Same with this. But the point I'm trying to make here is, if you're having a challenging time right now and feeling like you didn't accomplish what you wanted last year, or feeling like there is some sense that you were supposed to be doing something and you couldn't quite figure it out, or maybe you're stressed out that you felt like you figured it out and then it didn't work. Well, that's okay. And the point that they were making was to acknowledge that, feel through it. If you had some stress around that, don't push it away, but feel through it and just let it be. You don't have to examine it. You don't have to come to some grand conclusion. You don't have to be looking at everything like a life lesson. You can simply say, okay, I went through that. That's interesting. How do I feel about that? Do I want to feel into that? Or am I feeling that I can just let that go and focus on what's happening next, what's coming next? Even if it's simply a matter of, how do I want to feel? And I heard this brought up in a video I watched the other day that I really enjoyed. Maybe I'll link that in the... It was a great discussion, and the point of it was that maybe we don't have to worry about all of this stuff that we get so worried about, and we can simply focus on, how is it that I want to feel in this moment, right now? How is it that I want to feel coming up? How is it I want to feel in my day to day? How is it that I want to work? And I'll share with you that over the last couple of weeks, I have really found a big shift happening in the work that I'm doing, because I have been really bogged down with a lot of technical problems and getting my videos out on time, getting them done the way that I want, and then being really rushed and last minute. And I don't like the energy of that. It makes me feel frantic, and it makes me feel like what I want to be sharing with you is not coming through in the way that I want it to, which is crazy, right? Because of course the energy is always there. And I look back on these videos sometimes and go, oh wow, I don't even recall saying those things. And there's that message that really meant something to me in that moment. So I'm assuming that it'll be doing that for you as well, because that is how this works. But yeah, you know, the only thing you get out of this today is that thought of, how do I want to feel? And if I'm not feeling great in what I'm doing and where I'm at, what would be better? What can I change? What is going to make me feel like, yeah, that's something I want to do? more of that, please. So that's kind of what I'm striving for this year, is more of the feeling as opposed to the outcome. Now, of course, that said, I did just, get my website online in the last couple of months, and I am very excited to be finally sharing some of my originals and some prints. But ultimately, it's about, how do I feel? Am I feeling like this is where I want to be? And I often will get a resounding in my chest, yeah, it is. I love this. I love painting. I love sharing. I love connecting with you guys. That for me is the highlight, is being able to share what I'm doing with you and the energy that's coming forward. It just makes me feel happy and expanded inside. And that really is all that we can focus on, is making sure that we are taking care of ourselves and those around us and the great collective. And the more that you are aware of yourself and your needs and what you need to do to feel okay, the more that you are going to be setting a silent example for those around you. And the more people are going to be able to tap into that energy. One of the things that I think is really wonderful that is happening now is this great awareness of the fact that we are all connected. And not just human to human, but that we are all part of a wonderful being. That Earth herself is a wonderful being, and we are as much a part of her as she is us. We are not independent of the Earth and nature and the animals and the minerals, the mycelium, the noble airs and the gases, the lichen and the fungi. We're all interconnected. And so there is a lot of this awareness happening now. And I love to see, there is the great joke that the spiritual people make, and sometimes it can be quite sardonic. I am guilty of that. It's an old pattern of mine that I'm letting go of. But that, nice to see science catching up with something that we've known for thousands of years. Well, yeah, it's true. But also, it's a different way. And it's the beautiful part of that is that for people who don't relate to spirituality like I do, or perhaps you do, this is giving them a different venue to explore. And if it's giving them a validation of the same thing that we know, but only with different words or different, maybe evidence is not the right word, but science-based, they would say evidence, then who's to say that's any better or worse, right? It is still an understanding that we are all interconnected. And that is what is important going forward, because I think when you understand that there is an interconnection between all things, perhaps that fear, sense of hopelessness, powerlessness, despair, guilt, shame, all of those energies that are considered a really low level, which isn't really true. It's simply experience on a different vibration. But I think perhaps when there is that connection made, then that can be let go of. And when that is let go of, that is where peace comes into the heart of mankind and sentient beings that are on the earth, on and around Gaia at this point. And when that is let go of, that fear and that hopelessness, there's no need to have the contentious existence. Is it idealistic? Perhaps. I don't know that it is. I mean, I have seen that in individuals around me. I have seen it in myself. I am not the same being I was when I was younger, that's for darn sure. None of us are. But getting to that point where you start to feel that you're not having to do everything on your own in a fight. It's not the fight of survival. It's not fight or flight, that there are others there that are able to help you. There are others out there that are going through the same thing. It kind of lightens the load a bit, doesn't it? I don't mean it to be flippant, but that's kind of the gist. It lightens the load, and I think that is one of the steps into creating an existence that really connects you back to source and connects you back to your remembering that you are sovereign. You have the ability to make the choices that you want to make. You have the ability to be a powerful being because you are a powerful being of light. You're just remembering. So there we are. I'm just going to do a little zoom in on this part. I'm gonna have to lift it up so we can see because I did it very subtle. There we go. Just doing a little bit of detailing. And isn't watercolor beautiful? I just love the way the colors blend together and you really, really cannot tell where it's going to go or what it's going to do. And I'll have to share a picture at the end of the beautiful iridescence because it's not really picking up. So there we go. I hope you enjoyed that today. This is a bit of an impromptu as opposed to doing a channeling. I just needed a little break from that this week, and that's okay because I feel like whatever this is that's coming through is definitely channeled, absolutely, because there's a lot of codes and stuff in here. I'm really curious, can you feel them? Are you feeling alignment to this? Does it make something tingle in your system and make you go, wow, what the heck is that all about? Let me know in the comments. I'm really curious to know. And hey, I really want to encourage you, if there is something that you would love me to talk about spiritual-wise, or if you are looking for more specific information, if you are ID with a particular galactic or spiritual group that I have yet to channel or talk with, let me know, because you never know what can be coming up this year, and I'm always open to suggestions. I really want to create a community where we can communicate with each other and really support each other. So if there's something you're struggling with, if there's something that would be helpful for you, for me to talk about, let me know. So I think I'm going to leave it there for today, and this painting will probably continue on. I'll probably put some footage in at the end in post and see how that goes. So there we are. Thank you so much for being with me today. I really love you guys. I really, really do. And I look forward to hearing from you. I look forward to another year of this work getting out there, the energy getting out there, seeing my things that I'm doing shift and change and flow. And yeah, I'm excited. I am excited. All right, you guys, I am Tanya. I am a crystal whisperer. I am a channeler of spirit, and I am a light code activator. And I will see you next time. Bye. You just want to be in the video.